You are a fool! I am going to crush you and throw you into the wind!
The Tyrod Taylor Cover Band League. It's more than a cover band.
What up, guys? So, the first week of the playoffs is in the books, and my impressions are I am both impressed and annoyed by my team, because why did we wait until we're in the consolation bracket to finally pop off and almost put up 200 points? Like, holy cow. Amazing job by my boys. And that's with Jahmyr Gibbs and CeeDee Lamb both getting... Well, no, CeeDee Lamb didn't get single digits. Two players that I expected to do well got single digits. And I couldn't tell you who the other one was. But one was Jahmyr Gibbs. So it's like, if he would have just got like 15 even, I probably would have hit 200. So... that's with a couple players underproducing. We just had ourselves a week. Kyle Pitts has his game of the century. Like, that'll never happen again, I feel like. Or we just saw the emergence, and he's about to be the number one fantasy tight end. But come on, he has Kirk Cousins throwing to him, so probably not. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. They were against Tampa Bay, who everybody has been lighting up. But I am excited. I'm happy about my team's performance. Again, just wish it was under different circumstances, but let's not get into the nitty gritty and downplay it just because of that. As far as all the games, I feel like there's at least one team leading by 20, 30 points in every game, so there's definitely some adversity for like four of the teams in the league if you're hoping to keep your playoffs or consolation bracket hopes alive. Actually, I don't think anybody's just going to be done if they lose this week, so everybody's like quote-unquote hopes are alive, but you know what I mean. Like, we got some leads. It'll create some interesting situations. I haven't had a chance to look at everybody's matchups, but I'm excited to see what happens week 2. Let's all put up 200 points and just have absolute chaos. And for the love of God, please, no more torn ACLs, please.
Well, you didn't say anything about a concussion. I guess I'll get a concussion.
This is a message from my boy Tyrod. I'm praying for your groin, boo.
Richard, I saw you picked up the Saints today. Regardless of whether we start Tyrod, Brady Cook, or if they bring back Justin Fields, you keep that defense on there. You do that. You do that for me. You keep them in there. Don't second guess yourself. Keep them in.
I am just getting off work, but Travis with almost double 50s between Matt Stafford and Puka Nacua. My goodness. Hopefully I can find a replay somewhere to watch this game. It sounds like it was a very exciting one. What's up, guys? So I know we're all opponents, but I actually wanted to ask some advice. Could be very minuscule. I know I'm in the toilet bowl, so it doesn't really matter. But anyway, so it deals with wide receiver / flex. So I think I'm for sure starting Nico Collins against the Raiders. CeeDee Lamb, I believe, is questionable. Drake London's coming off the PCL strain, and it sounds like he's going to be starting, which if he is starting, I'm almost guaranteed to put him in because he's been like my best receiver on the season. But flex, that leaves, I could cycle in any of these to be at receiver, obviously, and then I have CeeDee Lamb. And then at flex, I also was wanting to fit Woody Marks in because I think the Texans are just going to stifle Las Vegas and they're not going to score anything. And then Houston's just going to end up running the ball a ton. And who's going to get the ball? Woody. So I don't know if that's good planning. Obviously, he's had the volume this year and still hasn't produced in a few of the games, which is worrisome, which is why I'm kind of like, do I just not overthink it, throw in my 3 receivers of doom and, hope for the best? Or should I go with the strategy and try to fit Marks in there because of the because of the whole Las Vegas not being able to score on Houston thought process. So let me know what you guys think. I'm definitely interested to hear your guys' opinions. Even if it's just a simple, like, start so-and-so, sit this person. That's fine, too. You don't even have to explain yourself. Just wondering who you guys would start in this.
Gavin, do you think you should start Woody Marks or Drake London? Not sure what that means. 3 wide receivers of doom or Woody Marks?
Yeah.
That doesn't answer the question. Yes is not the answer I was looking for. So do you think he should start Woody Marks? He's doing it. He knows it makes me laugh, so he keeps doing it because he wants to see me laugh. He's a butthole. I would say keep your wide receiver duo, personally. This Eagles-Commanders matchup, low-key kind of good right now. Commanders aren't looking terrible. They haven't scored a touchdown or anything, but they're holding the Eagles, making them work for yardage, and they even got some points on the board already. And so this is kind of like their Super Bowl, if you really think about it. Their year hasn't gone the way they thought. They're not in the playoffs. In case you didn't know, they got eliminated. But yeah, no, they aren't playing for anything other than respect at this point. I think getting a win over the defending champs would be a big mark, especially since they're in their division. My keys to victory for them is to at least take it down the field one more time and let Jake Nuda kick another field goal so that I can meet my parlay. My keys to victory for the Eagles, who are going against the Commanders, who are a scrappy team when they want to be, but the Eagles should be a dominant team. And it looks like they're struggling for yardage and everything. The time they throw downfield to Devontae Adams, Devontae Adams, he drops it. You're going to want to throw like 4 or 5 touchdowns to A.J. Brown. That's what you're going to do. You're going to get like 225 yards. A Puka Nacua game is what we're looking for here, Eagles, if you want to succeed. So that's just a little bit of my help from you guys. Obviously, it's unbiased because I'm not in favor of any of the teams right now. Just trying to help y'all play the best possible matchup. Richard, what mind games are you playing, boy? First you drop the Saints defense to pick up the Buffalo Bills, and then you drop the Buffalo Bills to pick up the Saints? What madness is this? You stop it. Your mind games shall not work! Jordan Love goes down with a concussion, is not returning to a game, and so, or the playoffs, I have a quarterback that scored 6 points. Not like this game, come on. I guess I made the mistake of being like, you know what, guys? I think I could win this. And the fantasy gods were like, you can't show confidence in your team. Jordan Love, show them. So, I don't know, man. I don't, it's been a weird sports day for me, and I'm kind of just numb at the moment, so it's not fully processed, but I know I'm going to be ticked tomorrow when I wake up. In retrospect, I feel I should establish that I pride myself on being someone who doesn't let the outcome of a sports game or fantasy control the outcome of their day. Like, it's never going to give me a bad rest of the week or anything like that. So, it's probably because I grew up as a fan of the Washington Nationals and the Washington Wizards and a couple of other underdog sports teams, so it was always we sucked. But when we win, we were happy to be there. And so that allowed me to have an expectation of not too good, but if something good happens, to be like, yay, we did it. So last night was kind of weird for me, primarily because life has been throwing a bunch of stuff at me. And I think last night was kind of I put all of my escapism into the football game against the Packers. Yeah, the Jordan Love going down was a big kick in the nuts for my fantasy team for sure. And if it's decided by like 5 points, I'm going to just have an awful taste in my mouth about that, because it's going to be like, you didn't beat me. The gods of fantasy screwed me over and stuff like that. But whoever wins, GG, it is what it is. the Packers game in particular, that's the one where I was like, all right, we have a chance for the playoffs and we can't lose to the Bears or it's going to suck. And I really put all of my eggs in that basket. Don't worry, this isn't like a big reveal of like life's going really hard for me right now. I have AIDS or anything like that. It's more of life's been throwing a bunch of little jabs and now the jabs are starting to make me all disoriented. So that was my escapism, and I put like all of my investment in that. And so when that didn't pay off the way I wanted to, I was very disappointed. I'm sure we've all been there at some point, maybe not, but I say all that to say, because of how disappointing last night was, not necessarily just from a football perspective, but from a life perspective, I'm probably going to be away from the chat today, maybe a little bit tomorrow. Like when the game concludes, or if it's going towards that conclusion, I'll probably jump in and say GGs and stuff like that and talk to you guys here and there. And if there's a comment that really interests me and I happen to see it, I'll respond to it, but I'm gonna make it a priority to focus on something else besides football today. So, yeah, best of luck, people. Hopefully the fantasy gods don't take away your players in the playoffs. I would have almost rather Jordan Love, or whoever my quarterback was, get taken out, and me not even get into the playoffs, because it happening in the playoffs is just so annoying. But good luck to everybody. I hope best for you. I think another part that also rubbed a ton of salt in the wound, and I'm still kind of reflecting on it a little bit, was I was on that site that I always share with you guys of, if you want to watch some sports games, come to this website. I'm not going to share it here. You ain't going to get me algorithm. I know this is going in a YouTube video. But in the on the website, there's a little chat box where people can talk about the games, and it's usually just a bunch of trash. You don't want to even read those comments. But there was a guy in the fourth quarter named Poop Rozier that was literally predicting everything that was happening in the game. And anytime somebody was like, how did you know that? He'd be like, it's the game script. Isn't it obvious? Like, he'd be like, oh yeah, they're going to probably make some progress. It's going to be like a 3-12. They're going to not make the play, but somebody's going to face mask him. And it happened. And it happened over and over and over again. Like 15 things back to back he got right. And so I was like, holy crap, this whole thing's just scripted anyway. None of it even matters. It's like if WWE, you could bet on that. It's all predetermined, so they could just shift the outcome. And I don't know, that also kind of rubbed me the wrong way a little bit. I don't think it's fully scripted or anything like that. I do have some doubts now. But, the Packers losing was predicted right in my face. It could just be next level trash talk and mind games, but man, very convincing that he knew the future.
Hey, Alex, so this probably isn't going to make you feel any better, but I know exactly how you feel. At one point, my team was, 1-7, so I did not want to be around football or fantasy at all then. You guys are literally the only reason I kept coming back. If it wasn't a, group of friends or just, good dudes that I like hanging out with, obviously online, we haven't all hung out in real life, but that could be fun. Sorry for the extremely chapped lips. My goodness, I didn't even notice that. Anyway, yeah, I know how that feels, and I hope you can get past it. Hopefully something amazing happens for your team to reawaken that spark and that fire for football, but also enjoy the family time. Enjoy whatever you're doing besides football today, because that stuff's important too, especially for the mental health. As Marshawn Lynch put it, you got to take care of your chicken. Wise words. And if it was out of context and you don't know what he was meaning by that, I love that even more. You got to take care of your chickens, guys. Go out back, feed them, treat them like they're pets, okay? Not just egg-laying machines. I don't know how I went down this route. Anyway, I just wanted to say also that it made it really easy not to choose Woody Marks, because he is still questionable, but his projection dropped to a 0. The backup running back is not only picked up by punishment, you sneaky devil, but has a projection also. So I'm pretty sure Woody Marks isn't even going to play. So that makes my decision very, very easy. Now I just got to watch Drake London. I guess he's a game time decision. His still says questionable as well, but we'll see what happens. Good luck to everyone in the games today. I just hope something crazy happens, whether it be all of us exploding or the team least likely, like Lou Boy makes the comeback of the century somehow. You know what I mean? I just want something crazy to happen. So let's do it.
If you had asked me what I wanted going into this last week against Richard, I would have just said I wanted a good game. But after reflecting on the current matchup and everything, like I literally didn't watch any football last night, and catching up and seeing what my players did and everything, I think a blowout is the acceptable outcome here, because I wouldn't have wanted to lose by like 5 or 10 points and have the Jordan Love / Josh Jacobs injury combination, because neither of them took a snap, obviously, in the second half. Josh Jacobs stopped taking reps about halfway through the second quarter, so neither of them got any points whatsoever. If I had lost by like 5 or 10 points, that would have left a sour taste in my mouth. So seeing 100% without a shadow of a doubt that the right team won is the ideal thing. So GG to Richard. I'm going to go out on a limb and say you won this, because barring a generational performance from Jonathan Taylor and then somehow George Kittle getting like 200-something yards without Purdy somehow benefiting from that, I'm not winning this match. So GG to you, bro. The right guy won. I'm not salty about it. I'm actually feeling a lot better about it. And hopefully you continue to put up your dominant performance, brother. Appreciate you.
Good morning, fantasy football managers. This is Richard Chase, P Inc. in the house. As it looks right now, headed to the championship game versus Alex. So the Alex versus Alex Bowl is not going to happen this year, unfortunately. Good game to the commissioner. Unfortunately, it didn't go your way, and to have your team's worst performance pretty much all year in the semifinals isn't the most ideal of situations. But as always, it's always a good matchup between us. I don't know the record. I think 2-2, maybe 3-2. I don't know, but. Good luck to you in the third place match, where hopefully you can win your $10 back so you can give it to the winner of the toilet bowl. All right? I'll record some more as the time goes on. Like I said, good game, Alex. Great league, lots of competition. Loved it. You all have a good Monday. You all have a good holiday. And I'll be talking to you again soon.
Gosh, feel a type of Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see, it's a new week in fantasy. But we don't talk about this week before we talk about last week, in which it was very decisive across the board for every single one of these matches. We already talked about the first half. Let's talk about the second half, in which we'll start with my game, in which the San State Fur Assassins lost to the San Diego Trenchcoat Villains. Oh my gosh, I lost to a nerd! Nerd! And at first, I was coming into this video completely prepared to be like, it's only because Jordan Love and Josh Jacobs didn't play real good. But no, he won outright, and I feel very satisfied with that. I would have felt terrible if, because Jordan Love and Josh Jacobs came out with injury, if I would have lost that, but no. Richard ended up absolutely destroying me in every single way. Brock Purdy with 43.85. Canceling out George Kittle, so it was a very smart call, because George Kittle was used all game, and that 25.5 was only through the third quarter. He was taken out very early into the fourth quarter with an ankle injury, which might take him out going forward, but I'll talk about that in a little bit. Jonathan Taylor having a better week than he's been having, but like I said, he's got a very rough end-of-year schedule, so unless he can line it up in these two, not ending on the most promising note. In fact, he is dropping in position rank fast. He is no longer in the two hold. On the other side of the spectrum, A.J. Brown is cracking into the top 10, all since coming to my little old team. Look at that. Look at that. And he's only got the Buffalo defense and the Washington Redskins defense. Should be really cute. And obviously there were decisions that could have been better. Marvin Harrison Jr. got me excited in coming back. And even though right before the game they were like, he's going to be used in limited play, I didn't think limited play was only going to result in 3 targets for a single reception. I thought he was going to be utilized a little bit more heavily than that, and it's probably the smart play that they inched him in, but I had no reason to be like, oh, I'll play Romeo Doubs instead of him, or I'll play Deebo Samuel against that Eagles defense instead of him. So it ended up playing out that way. The only freaking thing that I regret doing, and it really wasn't because they scored the exact same amount of points, so I can't even say I regret doing it, but I picked up Rico Dowdle because my opponent dropped him, and I was like, oh yeah, it'd be poetic if the guy who I picked up off waivers who exploded back in like week 4 also exploded against Richard, but I decided to go with Breece Hall because surely at some point he's going to go off even with his terrible offense, but was for nigh. There was a couple of questionable decisions on my part, but really, I had what was probably my roughest performance of the fantasy year in this final week, so I can't even just blame it on the injury like I said earlier. On the other hand, like I said, Brock Purdy putting up a ridiculous amount of points, Jackson Smith and Jigba and Jamar Chase putting up 20 points apiece, Brock Bowers putting over 10, Michael Wilson putting over 10, clashed with my Marvin Harrison Jr. very nicely, and you guys saw it earlier, I begged Richard to keep his defense in, and he obliged me, and they scored him 22 points, so I got what I asked for. So that was a little cruel twist of fate. I really thought I was onto something. I was like, this is the week the Jets break out. It wasn't being thought with here. It was being thought with here. Or more accurately, thought with here. But congratulations to Richard and the Punishment Incorporated. I refuse to call you this name, you freaking nerd. San Diego Trenchcoat Villains. You want to see what's behind my trench coat? It's not a watch. Moving on to Pardon Me, who also faced the wrath of the other top scorer in the league, Killer Kowalski. Surprisingly, not with Josh Allen, though. Against Cleveland's defense, they actually held him pretty well to 10.6 points, which I'm pretty sure is his lowest score of the season. And it is. It's weird how some of these players are like, oh, fantasy playoffs are out. Don't mind if I crap the bed. So it's actually kind of fitting he was playing the Browns. Because he really pooped the bed, get it? Is it funny? But also Jacoby Brissett cooling off, so it didn't really matter all that much. Meanwhile, Christian McCaffrey putting up 33.6, George Pickens putting up 27, Chris Olave putting up 37.8, and I'm pretty sure he's a top 10 wide receiver now. Top 6? Are you freaking kidding me? And whenever his guys are all putting up that numbers, even if this is one of Michael's more consistent weeks in memory, with Derrick Henry putting up 23.8, 22.2, 14.5, Alex's put up a devastating total to where he was never coming back from. I think he was going into this week with a 50-60 point deficit somewhere in there. And so Killer Kowalski, being the #1 point scorer in the league, continued to have 2 back-to-back very good weeks, putting the former champ out of his misery in this round, unfortunately. So it will be myself and Pardon Me going for the 3rd round spot to see who gets their $10 back. And Killer Kowalski and the Trenchcoat Villains. You gotta change your name back, Richard. That's bothering me. Those 2 are gonna be the one. Trenchcoat Villains. I'm not trying to be a jerk, dude. We're all villains, and we all wear trench coats. But we are going to have a brand new champ this year, and it is going to be exciting as we crown the 2 best fantasy teams all year long. One of them is going to come out on top, and it is going to be amazing. Meanwhile, in the toilet bowl, as the introduction suggested, Cleveland Chubbs just absolutely had his way with the Lou Boy. Even though the Lou Boy had one of his best fantasy, performances from an individual player, I'm pretty sure the whole year. Joe Burrow putting up 42 points, kind of like shutting up the critics from the last couple of weeks. Me, I was a critic. The unfortunate part is, other than Courtland Sutton putting up 20 and Stephon Diggs putting up 20, nobody else on his team really showed up. Meanwhile, Matthew Stafford and Puka Nacua put up the 2 highest fantasy point totals in this entire week. Both of them, 1 and 2 right there on his team. And then they were teamed up with James Cook. Then they were teamed up with Hunter Henry. Then Chase Brown, who I'm an advocate for, so I'm happy to see that, put up 32. In fact, he almost cracked 200 points in a single week for the second time this year, almost. He was literally point something away. In the toilet bowl, Travis's team might actually be the new team to beat, although there is some nice competition from Kansas City Kunai with Chain, who put up just a little under 10 points under him, a little under, so I should probably math that, 7 something. So it would be close. That's a devastating matchup between the two of them. Two of the higher scoring teams that, in many other leagues, if it was not a 8-team league and more of a 12 or something, they probably both would have been in the main playoffs, but unfortunately it didn't fly that way. Drake May putting up what we expect him to put up, especially against a weak Baltimore defense. Jahmyr Gibbs putting up his 20. Bijan Robinson almost putting up 30. Kyle Pitts Sr. putting up another decent week, 18.7 maybe. He's fooling us all. I'm drafting him next year. You better get to him before I do. And then the Texans defense and Borregales, SpaghettiOs brand, putting up 10 points of his own with that 13. I really wish my defense and my kicker would have done something. Must be nice. Meanwhile, Omarion Hampton coming back for LaMarvelous Chase, putting up a decent 16.5. But Lamar Jackson continuing to be the worst quarterback in fantasy ever of all time. Stop playing him. I'm kidding. There's no New England. Maybe you see that defense and maybe you won't play him. But man, Lamar Jackson, didn't he left early with an injury, right? Screw him. Screw injuries, dude. I hate injuries. I'm sure the players hate them too, but I hate them more than the players. I don't hate the players. I hate the injuries for the players. Yeah. And it was a rough week for LaMarvelous Chase, with his highest scoring player being Zay Flowers. You're welcome. Scoring 21.2 points. And that really not being too much. He only scored 96.55. And so, like I said, blow-ups across the board. Not really too much to commentate on. It's just well, this guy has big numbers, and this guy has big numbers, and this guy has big numbers. This guy right here, not big numbers. So I'm just going to move forward into the next week where, as I said, the trench coat... I'm not going to laugh. Trenchcoat Villains versus Killer Kowalski going head-to-head for 2 weeks straight. And you've already seen their teams a ton of times. I'm not really going to commentate on too much other than that Brock Purdy matchup against Chicago Bears looking a little bit prettier than Josh Allen's matchup against the Eagles, and vice versa. That Brock Purdy, Christian McCaffrey kind of going against each other right there. Meanwhile, Devin Achane going against Tampa Bay, which he could get some numbers in because he's both good in the passing and the running, in which Tampa Bay tends to lead more towards stopping the run, I would say. So he'll eat either way. Kyron Williams going against Atlanta, which I will always be an advocate for. Atlanta's defense sucks. Bucky Irvin, on the other hand, going against Miami. Miami's defense sucks. Jackson Smith-Njigba going against a pretty game Carolina Panthers, but he is the main target, so you could still see him eat either way. You never want to count out Jackson Smith-Njigba, St. Brown, George Pickens, Jamar Chase, so the wide receiver game is going to be crazy this time around. Brock Bowers versus Colston Loveland, obviously one matchup with the New York Giants favors over San Francisco, but you cannot count him out. He has been Caleb Williams' favorite target this year, so we'll see how that goes. Michael Wilson against Cincinnati, especially since it seems like they are going to continue inching in. Marvin Harrison, I don't expect his targets to magically jump up, but Chris Olave going against Tennessee. I am no longer a doubter of Chris Olave. He has proven me wrong so many times this year, so dang, I'm giving the edge to him. And then An interesting choice to go with the Washington Commanders adversary, the Cowboys D, especially since it's a defense that's been beaten up all years, but they have crossed that 10-point threshold, so you never want to count them off, especially since one of the first times they did it, it was against the team they're going this week, and they haven't gotten any better. The only difference between this matchup and the last time they were together is they have their full receiver core. All their players are pretty much healthy other than the quarterback situation, which you have Mariota still as the QB. So it could go either way. I don't know how confident I am in their defense, though. Meanwhile, that's got to hurt Alex a little bit. The Broncos defense going against his Kansas City Chiefs, because you know those Broncos are going to eat, especially after they got shut down by Tennessee. So that's rough. And then arguably one of his more consistent players. I can't even say that, dude. Killer Kowalski, your entire team is consistent, bro. But Fairbairn, one of the more consistent kickers in the league. I was expecting to see him like 1 or 2 at this point, especially since my guy crapped the bed. He's not good, but he's still position ranked 1. So, but it should be an amazing matchup, and I am absolutely looking forward to seeing who our 2025 Year 2 Tyrod Taylor Cover Band League champion is, and both of you deserve it. So congratulations to getting to this point, guys, and it's an honor to have you in the league. Straight up. Meanwhile, my match going against, pardon me, I'm going with the young Jackson Dart in spite of him getting shut down absolutely against Minnesota, which was rough to see. I'm pretty sure he left early with an injury, so I can't be too upset with that. I might have to go with Caleb Williams over him, especially since he proved he can go against rough defenses by, absolutely destroying Green Bay. I'm not going to talk about that. That was more disappointing than my fantasy loss was. And I don't know if Davante Adams is going to get the nod, mainly because every report I've received so far, it's been like 2 or 3 since he was declared out, suggests he's going to miss another week. So I don't know exactly what to do, which is why Marvin Harrison's in here. I might have to look on waivers or something. But I'm glad my team waited till the playoffs to get injury stricken. That's just great. Thank you for that, fantasy gods. But if Josh Jacobs does play, it's against Baltimore. If he doesn't, well, I got Rico Dowdle and maybe Romeo Doubs that I can mess around with. But no, neither of them are running backs. So Rico Dowdle would have to do it. Or Breece Hall against New England. Rico Dowdle versus Seattle. Man, this matchup's going to be rough. So I'm going to have to be doing some janking and figuring some things out, go to the garage, work on some things, and somehow out of all this, I'm projected over... I don't believe that. Jacoby Brissett going against Cincinnati, Derrick Henry going against Green Bay could be rough, but we're missing Micah Parsons, so that stifles our run defense quite a bit. We're still pretty good against the run because we have Rashawn Gary and a couple of good guys in the middle that tend to get in the backfield and shut it down, but still, it's Derrick Henry. Saquon Barkley going against that Buffalo defense, which I don't trust at all. Justin Jefferson going against a weak Detroit passing defense. T. Higgins going against Arizona, who's actually deceptively good, especially with Joe Burrow. But with Joe Burrow passing to him, I'm expecting big numbers from him. Jake Ferguson, no longer the favorite target of Dak Prescott, but you can never count him out, even though he's straight away from the 20s. With how people have, congratulations, with how people have been performing against me, you're probably going to get like 30 points with them. I love to see that you picked up Tony Pollard going against that Saints defense. Hopefully he cooks for you, mainly because I like Tony Pollard and I hope to see him do well because I don't want to see him go to Tennessee and die. And then your Steelers defense has come in clutch for you multiple times this year, 25, 25, 24. We'll see if they come through again against Cleveland. You're putting them directly against Shadur Sanders. That's weird waters to be going on. And then the 2 top kickers in the league going against each other head to head. I hope we'll have 2 of the top tight ends going against each other in the league. But if nothing else, hopefully we'll have something interesting going in at wide receiver. Debo going against Dallas is the best possible matchup I am looking at if Davante Adams doesn't play. Otherwise, maybe Romeo Doubs versus Baltimore. But I seriously doubt he will. Maybe not. The thing is, Malik Willis really liked throwing to Romeo Doubs. See, I'm not going to game plan on stream like this unless you guys want me to live stream and then you guys can tip me some money. But I digress. Mine's a work in progress, so don't expect this to be the final result. There's the ones who are probably locked in place are Jonathan Taylor, mainly because he's a sit and forget. AJ Brown If George Kittle plays, he'll play. Seahawks against Carolina, and then Jason Myers. Those are all my set and forgets. Everybody else is currently eligible to be moved around. Meanwhile, the Kansas City Kunai with Chain versus Cleveland Chubbs for the Toilet Bowl. A champion's a championship. In college, they have like a bowl for every single team to compete for. So none of those bowls may mean anything to those teams, but you still get something. And so you guys will still get something with the Toilet Bowl. Get that legacy. You got Drake May going against the Jets. Crazy. Jahmyr Gibbs going against a weak Minnesota run defense. Their pass defense is what's good. Bijan Robinson going against the Rams, which at first, when I think of Rams, I think of run defense. But a lot of people tend to eat run-wise against the Rams, so that seems like a good matchup. Nico Collins is probably the roughest matchup. CeeDee Lamb going against Washington's good. Kyle Pitts against that Rams defense. Shrug. Same with Drake London. You got, dude, I forgot how Falcon heavy you are. Texas D going against Chargers could go either way, because if their offense just decides to go off, that could be rough. But Texas has shut down some very elite offenses this year, so I'd be confident in them. Meanwhile, Matthew Stafford and Puka Nacua, that duo going against Atlanta, which, as I said, I don't believe in their offense. Judkins on the injury reserve, so I'm guessing he's going for Sampson to get the backup running back situation going. So I'm not going for him, so maybe you'll get him. Christian Watson going against Baltimore. Hunter Henry going against the Jets. Chase Brown going against Arizona. We also got a little bit of an offset going on there if he sticks with Hunter Henry, assuming he doesn't go with like Dalton Kincaid or something like that, or with a strange option. And then, of course, the ever-reliant Cameron Dicker. Two powerhouse teams going head-to-head. I'm guessing the only reason why he isn't around Brandon's number is because of the IR right now. But once he gets that subbed in and out, I expect big things. And then finally, unfortunately, there does have to be a last place team. The battle for last place. If you don't have any motivation, be motivated to not be the last place team in the league. You don't want that. I would heavily consider, and I don't really give advice, but I know Lamar Jackson is your boy, Lamarvelous Chase, and you want to ride or die with him. You may want to heavily consider not putting him in against Green Bay. You might want to do that. Don't listen to me, listen to your heart. Listen to your heart. And if you end up playing him and he doesn't do good, that's your fault. I'm just saying, heavily consider not. Especially with Joe Burrow going against Arizona. Like I said, a deceptively good defense, but not good against elite players. Marion Hampton going against Houston. Williams going against Washington. Favor, Lou Boy. Tyrone Tracy Jr. going against Las Vegas. Aaron Jones Sr. going against Detroit. Tyrone Tracy going against a terrible defense, and Aaron Jones going against a good defense. I would say like that's kind of a wash. I'm doing the Chris Olave thing and saying I don't really believe in this running back, even though he put up 24.7. But I don't believe in him. He doesn't exist. Jamison Williams going against Minnesota, one of the better pass defenses in the league, as we just established last week. Emeka Egbuka going against Miami. Cortland Sutton going against Kansas City, which is actually not a very good pass defense. So running back situation favors Lou Boy. Quarterback situation favors Lou Boy. Wide receiver starts to favor Lamar Chase. No, actually Lou Boy. It's all favoring him right now in this first week. Obviously, it's a 2-week playoff, which we'll talk about that in another recap. But right now, we're just trying to go through air and water. But as the last place team in the league, the only team with double-digit losses, I'm sure him and his boys have something to prove. Maybe he's giving them a speech right now as we talk in the locker room. But hopefully, best of luck to every single person. And regardless of what happens, guys, it's all about the consolation. It's all about the winner's bracket. It's all about legacy of the team. And if you feel bad about your team right now, just don't forget that the commissioner of the league, me, I've gone through hard times too. In fact, this past week, I lost to a freaking nerd.